Hello and welcome to the team guide for Bodø Glimt, Eliteserien 2020. Team guides brought to you by the Nordic Football Podcast. My name is Steve Wiss. So let's talk a little about Bodø Glimt then. And they were the absolute, what a story they were last season. Finished second against everyone's expectations. For a large part of the year it looked like they might well compete for the title itself. Their big rival is Tromsø, who are not in this league at the moment. They're in the second tier after a shock relegation. Probably the biggest rival they've got within the league is Rosenborg, just simply on geographical location, I would say. Aspira Stadion is about 5,500. Interesting little ground. Well, I don't think they're necessarily going to miss fans too much. It's not a ground that's full that often. So I think they'll adapt quite well behind closed doors up there. Got a great manager in Kjetil Knudsen. I'm predicting them 8th this year, but that might be a little bit pessimistic. They could easily sort of squeeze into the top 6 as well, but I think they will regress from last year's second place. So Bodø Glimt, the most northerly side in the Eliteserien. There we go, right to the top of Norway we go. Tromsø's a bit higher up, but Bodø is as we go down to Aspira Stadion, and it's quite a trek for some sides. Probably a couple of hours. By plane, maybe 3 hours for some as well. But so home advantage could still be very important for them in that regard. Let's look at the fixtures for Bodø Glimt, and I don't think it's an easy start for them. I've got to be brutally honest. I think they've got some tough games. Viking way first match is not easy. Haugesund, quite a solid side. Rosenborg in there. Brann odd away is never easy. Sarpsborg home probably the easiest on paper. Even that might not be easy. So tricky start for Bodø Glimt, and it kind of puts me off some of the players at the beginning of Eliteserien fantasy. The goalkeeper situation, they've got a new guy, Smits. Looks like Kaiken's going to start maybe the first game or two, and then Smits comes in. I don't really know. He looks a big unit, but I don't know much about him. Fredrik Andre Bjørkan did really well last year. He's priced 6 million. Most of his points will come sort of offensively, assist, maybe the odd goal. I don't think Bodø Glimt are the sort of side are going to keep that many clean sheets. That's the worry with them, and that's why it kind of puts me off any of their defenders overall. Bjørkan's the only one you can really consider because of his offensive contribution. As we talk about the offense itself, they've got a new striker. Juncker was on loan at Stabæk last year, did pretty well. I think him and Boniface are going to battle it out for a starting spot, and 8 million feels kind of about right for both. Maybe 7.5 million would be a bit fairer. You can maybe get both in the side if Boniface started out wide, but let's just see who gives the best out of these two guys. Midfield, Ulrik Saltnes would probably be the one guy you'd consider. He kind of gets forward quite a lot, gets on the end of balls. Zinkernagel plays on the wings and sometimes even up front. Jens Petter Hauge would have been a great option, but he's going to transfer to a Belgian club very soon, I think. It's a bit up in the air. He might get some games out of him before he goes. Some might try and start him in the team initially, but he's not going to last that long in the league, I don't think. Maybe a couple of other lads could develop as the season goes on, but fundamentally, forget who's leaving, who's staying, who's going to perform. I think the first 6 fixtures are really hard. I just don't really see too much contribution from Bodø Glimt, or it'd be sporadic. I think if you're looking for anyone, and look to the offensive side, maybe if Juncker or Boniface get going, or if Saltnes, Zinkernagel sort of find some form. But at the moment, I'm not interested in any Bodø Glimt players for fantasy from day one. I think it's too many question marks. Doesn't mean to say by any means that I'm going to ignore them for the rest of the year. When the fixtures get easier, when we sort of see who's in form, who's ticking along, then yeah, absolutely, they're the sort of side. They're playing a nice 4-3-3 attack, sort of minded formation, counter attack especially. They can be lethal on the break. They're well coached, they're well managed, and nice and fluid. So good team to watch on the eye. Fantasy wise at the minute, I'm not too high on them, on their players. I'm a bit sort of more like question marks really. It's not being negative, it's just a few factors overall, and I don't really want to put anyone in my team right now. But that's enough for this video. Thanks very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope it gave you some insight into Bodø Glimt. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. That really helps us out. And until next time, until the next team preview, it's goodbye, and we'll see you very soon.